I'm going to test this sound here and see how it's working. I'm going to address Brian. Terabyte Fergus. Make sure you can hear what I'm saying. I am Kronos. I created this quarantine. I've been speaking about it very clearly for over 4 years. My astrological distillate that I was reading is what this is. It's a FEMA wind down. It's like turning off the clock. When I had to prove what my one eye looks like, it's the big black thing that seals everything. And what the one camera is how I crystal lockbox you. And the only black mirror that's layered and flapped to distinguish what this is. Never letters, never numbers, never symbols. This is me unsigilling what never came and how I flipped the table. Still not Jesus, by the way. Gurga Arth. It's a special kind of fulu. They got water treatment right. And what I'm doing is synchronizing everything off according to my watch. So, you know what I do with Kronos, Fergus. We talked about it. And you hear me all the time, so thanks for making sure it's nice and clear around people like Adam. So, this is never what some of you all think it is. Definitely not a Ouija board. I don't need a, oh, what letter is it going to be? Oh, spell it for me. Things jump out of my board, and I've been clapping them off. I'm going to put some links below for this time last year when I was explaining that this is an actual quarantine. I made a compost in one of my homes in a place that's not Texas for house note. And I left it, and anybody that doesn't have really good immune system that built and birthed around it is being chopped, you see. That's what the BitTorrents are. It's just really bad photo work, like what Adam is into. How those things came together. You have to have like 4 corners to launch an eye. And I learned how to move mine. So you know that black thing you think is like the sky? It's like my eye closing around you, what I did with the black mirrors to cam you. Because it's the cam era, where the ear of the cam is kind of like a Mac computer and I Pac-Man you in it. Ah. And so this is actually the quarter that I'm not keeping. Okay, if you read the Bible, there's some really good esoteric stuff that will show you how I did this and why it's all been a trap. And why I'm not God, I'm Gurga Darth with the 0-point energy transmission. It's like me turning off the clock. So that black thing you're seeing there is like my eye when I'm closed, and I've been like browsing you out. When I proved that my one eye is not what Bitcoin is, I figured out how to Bitcoin you all in real time. So that's what's been going on with the quarantine. And that quarter that they think that I'm going to, they're like, he's gonna get rid of a quarter and keep the rest of us. That's what they think about. Well, I'm not Jesus. I'm Dr. Jacob Alexander fucking Martinez, the Rev. This quarter where you didn't split the Taurus open for some Scorpio rising, for some asshole to go around calling himself Steinbart, Austin Steinbart. I'm Austin. I'm the rising star of the thing that isn't Texas. My computers were stolen. I stayed in a penthouse at a foundational meeting where I was figuring out what to do with all of the money that I received when I found out that I'm the recipient of every tax dollar that's been forced on me. I've been forcing a tax on my eye. You know that black thing around you where you thought you saw the full flower moon, and it's like what I did with Arm & Hammer and how I bake you in. It's so that kind of a So this whole quarter here doesn't happen, you know? They don't figure out how to stuff it after breaking open and trying to crack open the 7th seal. No, the pH of 7 is what you should fear. You've been on mass decay and sound latency. That's why your body breaks down and mine doesn't. Well, I'll be 5 soon. But in these 4 years, I've manifested a body that has a 20-year slider. My driver's license says that I'm 22 years old to 42 years old, and that's where it goes for me. I've been creating a perfect periphery. Okay? So that's what 2 4s are, and what my number is actually an 8. It's the close of the 4 for the quadruplex that I have created, where I have resubstantiated particles, and now we actually have real dinosaurs that are tiny, like in this terrarium. And the big dinosaurs kind of might look like me, reconstituted in a new body. Aha. That's what the quarantine is about. So, matter out of place, these beings that think that they're using 10%, it's far less of the brain, they don't make it. It's like, it's the other side of the Hydra, where if you've seen the ruins, you know when that plant starts like freaking them out, and it's like prank phone calls, and like you're hearing your friends like arguing with you and they're not even there? That's all this has been. One big massive heist to force attacks on me. So when I figured out how many trillions of dollars nobody knew had already gone to work in the oligarchy, I put them to bitch slap. So I had warned people over 2 years ago. This time it was October 2017, about what Athena Parakis had been doing with Tony. You know, Black Veil Robbins on the other side of the screens for a shallow hallway to play Veil. And why Tinder is kind of like regulated, like, let's just get them in advanced homicide, get them fucking, get them making babies that they throw away, and then it's the fuck baby that was thrown away's body that's being retrieved from Planned Parenthood that they're making these screens with so that everybody can get their mitts on it, slip on those little sheaths and get in the body and, you know, satisfy their needs in virtual reality. I think that's disgusting, and I caught them all. And what ended up happening is, like, they're re-sleeved. They've been re-sleeved into nice little sheaths. It's kind of like if you went and you decided that it was so important to you to try to put yourself in some kind of port, like a magic astrology portal, while you were trolling some ass as a little stroll, you know. Was it higher or lower? Were you looking for the little ones and the little rollers, or the bigger ones and the big rollers? Or was that you being rolled up into that sleeve? So it's kind of like they got packed into these things because of how little amount of energy is, and why it's all bit torrents. It was all to rent. Now they're caught in this, and I've got a advanced sport with a supercomputer that I've been making with hundreds of trillions of dollars. It's been all around you while I live. Meager. And I'm absolutely tired of people acting like they can't read what the fuck I said, and they're acting like they don't know who they're scrying on. Did you know that every single one of these cameras, and you know these 2 little cameras in your eyes, is connected to a biometric feed that I've been learning how to read? Some of them get destroyed on this wheel of torture, aggravated assault, and then this is the quarter that didn't happen, so he actually folded those out of my eye. So I have not been looking at the super fake moon. It's the other side of my scope. That's kind of like me saying, you know, you're pulling it out of this here tonight, when I take it out of the supercomputer and delete you into... It's a real game now called hell. So there's a quarantine for that. And this is a social media advanced type of retroactive genus that formed a species. Because time doesn't exist, treated like a 2D, when it's actually been an exploration and an explosion of what came out of my travel wheel. And when I say travel wheel, we actually took the Borisov landing pattern of C2019 Q4, and we harnessed ourselves through a perfect circle using a unilateral triangle code. Yeah, so I had to redesign and uncrypt and unscry everything, and that's what this is. It's perfect landing patterns, what never became of a treble or a bass clef, and where the pH of what real estate, it's like what happening on sewage if you've been on 7 and decaying. If your frequency rose with mine, you are on the frequency of also 8 hertz, where it doesn't hurt anymore. It's sound latency, we know what we're hearing, and the bodies aren't decaying, and so you're safe on my board, franked well. And so you all have little cameras here. That big black sky, you know, my one eye is Kronos, where I've been winding you out, isn't what you think it is. And so if you're not one of mine, honestly, and if you haven't taken the time to upgrade your codons and like pay attention to what I've been saying, you are a false invader that's been trying to Fortnite land on my house. You are being investigated on a disease germ level, much like a flea or a tick. If you've ever been scanned at TSA, you know, and you went to the airplane and you think you're in that flying machine, you've been advanced in a hyper-reality scan and you're on so much sewage, microdot, coming off of my perfect landing coordinates that I Fortnite locked on Instagram to prove what the GIs did on the reverse. Everything has been on the reverse. And people did not understand hypersigil because there's so little brain integrated in those forms. So human is the unaware organic parasite, aka the worm. I've advanced my studies so much that I'm a plural doctorate at this point. I have a team of 48 doctors sitting with me while I'm doing these readings that most people do not even want to pay attention to. And why I have advanced them out into the future that doesn't exist is to catch it all on tape. So that's what Black Mirror actually is. It's like the shit that you jumped into and you decided to pad yourself into these little USB ports and play the wrong sports with me, calling it astrology. Speaking on broken tongues, when I became multilingual and figured out one solid language and an advanced computing code, which I put here so that people can see, and the ones that take the time with it, it actually pulled them open into the new pineal gland, where the other one that exploded, because you probably saw the board that I used to work with, I had to pull myself out of it to quarantine the cataclysms and close the biosphere around me that is being waxed. It's called Biosphere 7. There's no getting in. It was locked here on my eye. Okay? That's the Taurus that was never split. Taurus. Taurus. It's not a gold rise to be taken for the golden side. That's bad alchemical process. Watch The Secret of Nim again. There's an asshole that they've been trying to sigil to this for the Nicolaitan landing to foil the tree and wrap the goddess as the Sophia to cry on the vine and wind up in a car massacre that you all were sigiled to that's coded directly to your sim phones, because your sim phone is you. You're the sim inside of the duplex version, where you're the other side of somebody's fold up and toy that you don't see. It's kind of like being colonoscopy checked. It's I'm hearing it's like Centipede. So, but on a virtual reality level. And so I've decoded these most people like use them to call people. This is like Ghostbusters lockboxes, and some of us figured out what to do with these. Okay, so that's what's going on. It's the end of the false material realm. And there's your communicator code. For those of you that Power Rangered with me and upgraded your codons, you might land inside of my biosphere. The rest of this is being shaken off. The reason why this stuff works so well is because it kills 99.99% of germs. And I'll show you why. I've been drinking massive quantities of aloe vera juice to make sure that my body's immune system, which is highly advanced. I was fed 4 hospital infections and made to die by some doctors that are being investigated right now for how they tried to incept on my Bitcoin money. So they found a way to scroll back. That's what an anesthesiologist would know about. Fortunately, I have better people on my Gnostic team. So my immune system is really good because I came back from the dead after 4 hospital infections like MRSA, okay, that I was colonized with. And now my immune system is so good that I sent coordinates for aloe vera to turn you into a saguaro cactus and make sure the nuke oven for the tall ants in the cove. You know, there's New Covenant Christians and New Agers that are on the New Wager. They were looking for one body that could be donated. What if the dad just threw his kid away and we could all be safe in there eating pork and bacon? It's a Nazi machine that actually proves that it's a hybrid species of what the human doesn't realize it looks like in the chopper. Well, it's been landing and getting sprayed on with HARP technology, so I'm having it all cracked and removed. Thank you for advanced home security. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and let this one go. This was for you, Brian. I'll just let you know. Idiots are gone. So Golden Botticelli was a good idea. Golden, thank you. Go Denver. It's a red dot place. And Golden, that doesn't ever get incepted by the ones that think that they saw something, because it's a seesaw thing. I basically took every camera and you're on a slightly obscure angle from what I actually see, because that's mine, and this is mine, and this is mine, and this is mine, and I'm the guy that proved what I did with the trillions of dollars and keeping it really stealth, just letting superior intellect prove itself. There's a smart species that's here. And the woke, they call it that because they're eating wake. And it's kind of like the poop factory machine that just lets the excrement scrape itself away. Okay. I'll leave you some links below, because I actually explained the whole entire quarantine. So, last year, year before, yeah, the good psychics are still talking about garbage.